That was a big eye opener for me just because I'm fairly new to the fall obsession family as well, and I've been a part of, like, I guess you could say, the family for a little bit, but I wasn't as involved. And then I took that jump to go on a hunt, and it was such an eye opener for me that, wow, this is something I really, really want to keep doing, and I want to take it further. And it made me realize that fall obsession can really, really grow from people like us that just keep pushing it, and going on these hunts and going out of your comfort zone to a state you've never been, and it's so worth it. So worth it in the end.
Oh, you got her, dude. She's down. Let's go.
Dude, I just shot a deer of a lifetime.
Freaking smoked him.
One with nature, and if you're a believer, one with God.
Definitely gets your heart pumping. Boy, you are in trouble.
Fall Obsession Podcast.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another Fall Obsession Podcast episode, part 2 of our Midwestern High recap. Sitting down with the second half of the team from the snow goose hunt a couple weeks ago. If you guys are just now joining us and missed last week's podcast, encourage you guys to go back and listen to it. It's not necessarily in any particular order, but the two do go together. This week I'm on here with our Midwestern Regional Staff Coordinator and Pro Staffer Todd Sellen. He's back with us. What's happening, Todd?
Hey, Sam. How are you?
Doing good, man. And Todd was with us last week with his wife, Heather, and Pro Staffer Andy Meeks, who were also a part of this hunt. They are not here today, but we got the other half of the crew. Field Staffer Tyler Wolf is with us. Welcome, Tyler.
Hi, thanks, Sam. Nice to be here.
Absolutely. Happy to have you. And we also got, first time on the podcast, Field Staffer Delaney Pfeiffer. Welcome.
Hey, thanks for having us on here.
Yeah, I'm super pumped. I know Todd can reflect it as well. We had an awesome time last week talking with Heather and Andy and kind of just hanging out on here, as best we can virtually, and reflecting the hunt that you guys had last weekend, or 2 weekends ago now, I guess. But man, I just kind of want to dive in and get y'all's take on everything. And Delaney, we can start with you, and just want to know what kind of what your expectations were going into this weekend, and kind of how the hunt unfolded for you.
Sure. So first of all, just starting off, I was definitely nervous because these are people I've never met before, like only through video. I didn't know how we were going to mesh. And to say expectations were exceeded would be an understatement. Everybody has their own little personality that I think we all blended really well. And they were all very encouraging of me with taking videos and such, of interrupting conversations and saying, wait, let me get this on video, or interrupting a hunt to say, let me get that on video. And it was really awesome because not once did anyone say, oh my gosh, enough with this. Instead, I got a lot of, thank you for doing that. We got a really fun blooper reel out of it, and just a lot of really cool memories that we were able to get on camera, which was great. And according to my friends and family, I need to stop talking about it. Yeah, so it was really amazing. And not to mention, just being able to experience, a Missouri sunrise was just really beautiful for sure. And Andy did tell us that we would be hearing the sound of the calls in our brains for a while, and he wasn't kidding.
Yeah, he mentioned that last week to us, that he's still closing his eyes to go to sleep and hearing the call out in the blind sounding off and everything. So we got a good chuckle out of that.
Yeah.
Tyler, what about you, man? Because I believe have you hunted snow geese before this event?
I have, yeah. So I grew up near Cheyenne Bottoms, which is another part of the Central Flyway. Millions of birds pass through there. Very similar to what we saw near Squaw Creek. But going back to the hunt, I was kind of like, I was second what Delaney was saying, because I came in completely fresh. I'd met a few people on video calls, through email, different correspondence, but having no idea how we were going to mesh. And Delaney's right. It was like we were all best friends that had known each other for 10 plus years, and got right into it pretty quick. Had a blast that first night, just preparing for the next day. And then swung right into it the next day. Got there out on the blind and had a blast. Just seeing all the birds fly over and taking the shots when we could, and encouraging each other, and had a pretty good hunt that first day. So I was pretty pleased. I'll say that.
Awesome. So I heard from the crew in last week's podcast that you had a pretty awesome shot. You got a twofer in one of your sets. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it's luck of the draw, right? You got to get the birds lined up just right, and they were, I don't know, 15, 20 yards away, not too bad, and just right behind each other, and I took a shot, and they both dropped. So, I don't have proof, but I feel pretty confident that was a twofer. So.
Danny has proof. It's on video.
Yeah, we did get it on video. It's kind of slightly in the corner, but it's there.
Yeah, that was great. It was. I definitely bragged about that one a little bit to the wife, so she's probably tired of hearing about that
one. And not only is Tyler the best shot in the Midwest, I think he's the quickest shot in the Midwest as well. Jeez.
That draw.
Yeah, Andy was our shot caller, and so we would sit there and tell, Andy, just because Andy has the most experience out of all of us, and so he would tell us when we needed to pop up out of the blind to shoot, and I can't tell you how many times he would say, wait. Okay, and Tyler was up and unloaded his gun before any of the rest of us stood up. So
I still had it on safety, and Tyler's already got one down.
Tyler's putting second load in his gun while we were all just getting up.
Wait.
Yeah. 20 years of hunting upland with no dog. It'll make you a quick shot.
Oh, yeah.
It made you a quick shot, that's for sure, yeah.
So, Delaney, you're coming into this pretty new to snow goose hunting, is my understanding. Which is awesome, and like I said, I hated to divide up the crew or anything, but I figured Andy and Tyler having the more experience out of the group, and then you and Heather being more of the novice coming in, that it'd be a good mixture for the two podcasts. So tell us a little bit about just your kind of you experiencing it for the first time, and any particular hurdles that you were trying to get past as far as making shots, whatever it might be, with learning how to hunt snow geese that weekend.
So yeah, hurdle wise, some pretty general ones that everyone warned me about, like make sure you aim a little bit further if they're farther out, because they're going to fly into it. And then just, the biggest one was, don't shoot that one. It's a speckle belly, and I'm convinced, no, I think it looks like a snow. I think I would know, but it's definitely not.
Right.
So that was a hurdle, just to make sure that whatever we shoot, it's something we're supposed to shoot. We ended up not having any issues with that. But, as a first timer, I was very nervous, to make, anytime Andy said, okay, those three in the front are good, I would make sure that is very clear to me before I make any shots. And I think it's just kind of like it definitely felt a lot like when I go deer hunting, and I'm like, that could be a button buck, but it could be a doe. It's one of those things where it's, if you're not sure, don't do it. And that really helped me on this was, and everyone was very helpful repeating that to me and Heather. If you're not sure, don't do it, which was great because, there was no pressure that way. And another thing that was really nice is just kind of the fact that all of the guys and Heather too would be like, okay, there's some coming in, instead of saying, like these, I got these. They were like, everybody be aware there's some coming in. Everyone it was a team effort. So I never felt at any point that I was the least experienced there, which was awesome. So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, that's one thing that I think the group last week, they definitely, it was emphasized over and over again by everybody, was just the team environment, the camaraderie, and just the magic of hunting camp, if you will, and I know one of y'all mentioned it kind of right out of the gate, coming into this, having not ever met hardly any of these folks, except virtually in meetings like this and everything. And, it's so crazy how things just fall together, and it's something that I love seeing happen, even in obviously camps that I can't be a part of. I said it last week that, it's just this is a family, a brotherhood and a sisterhood. And I feel like when we actually get together, boots on the ground, is when it's really, it really comes to light that that's the case. So really, really pleased to see that happening.
I mentioned last week too. I've been on hunts with Andy before, and obviously Heather being my wife, but I had never met Delaney or Tyler other than through emails or we text or whatever the case may be. And like I said, the first time we met, it was hugs all around, like we've known each other forever. And like Tyler said, we just jumped right into it. We just started being our goofy selves and continue to do so, as recent as last night. We're texting back and forth and so so it's like you said, it's that brother and sisterhood that just comes along with being a part of Fall Obsession, and that's a big reason why I was hoping, we were hoping to get more hunts and get more people involved. And this certainly, like I said, came to fruition in the vision that I originally had for the hunt and the idea that I came up with. It just all came together and everything just worked so perfectly, You
really did. You really did. I mean, we've got 2 or 3 hunts on the calendar just from that one weekend. So that'll tell you. And that's this year, right? Hopefully we get more. So.
Yeah.
And, that was a big eye opener for me just because I'm fairly new to the Fall Obsession family as well, and I've been a part of, like, I guess you could say the family for a little bit, but I wasn't as involved. And then I took that jump to go on a hunt. And it was such an eye opener for me that, wow, this is something I really, really want to keep doing. And I want to take it further. And it made me realize that Fall Obsession can really, really grow from people like us that just keep pushing it, and going on these hunts and going out of your comfort zone to a state you've never been, and it's so worth it. Worth it in the end.
Absolutely. And I'll reiterate some stuff that I said last week, just mainly for our listeners' sake. But, if you're unfamiliar with the family or the staff environment that we have here at Fall Obsession, it's, near 3 dozen people in states across North America, spread out. But we've made an effort recently as an organization to kind of get the regions together, and not to say other regions aren't welcome to join in or anything, but you guys being the Midwestern crew, I know Todd's done a great job, kind of coordinating and trying to get you guys together, and this event obviously being the first big one. But I look at the photos, I look at the videos from this hunt, and I got Nick working on that video, trying to get that all put together and finalized for us. But I look at it, I'm jealous. I'm jealous that I couldn't be there. It looks like an absolute blast, and Andy in particular, that man's a freaking hoot, man. He's just all over the place, and I love the guy. And it's stuff like that I hope to promote. I hope that people within our own ranks and everything see that, man, I really got to make an effort to be out there and hang out with those guys next year, and try to happen. And we hope that our family grows off of that. We want to see more people join the Midwestern, the Western, the Southern crews and that kind of stuff. And, that only increases opportunities for stuff like this to happen in the future. And so I'm super excited to see where it goes. And, obviously I'm living with y'all, on the Midwestern high out there. Yeah.
Vicariously through us, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I've never snow goose hunted myself, so next year I'd be the novice and the blind, but I got it marked on my calendar that hopefully next year I can come out there and join y'all. So
you'll get lessons from the newbie.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think we were all a little bit nervous in that, I had never snow goose hunted, as I mentioned earlier, previously that. And so I was just still a little nervous on how things would go. Like I said, Andy and I actually, we came up with the idea when we were on that pheasant hunt, and then I just kind of ran with it. And, I wanted to make sure it went well. And so I wanted to make sure there are no obstacles. That was my biggest concern. It wasn't, am I going to screw something up in the blind, because I've hunted, my entire life. So I know the general basics of hunting and how to control your firearms and stuff like that, so I wasn't nervous in that sense. I was nervous in the sense that A, we'd get enough people involved to really make this what I'm hoping to make it, and B, we all have a good time. I was more concerned about Tyler having a good time and Delaney having a good time than it was for, what I mean? I knew I would have a good time because, as Delaney and Tyler have seen through my texts, I make a good time out of everything. As my wife says, you look like you starred in Dumb and, or you act like you starred in Dumb and Dumber. Yeah, but I just.
Todd is like the life of the group chat.
Yeah. I just enjoy life and So at any rate, so that was my big take. That's where I was hoping everybody would enjoy themselves, and they would really see the benefit of us coming together, because honestly, the best ideas come from camps, come from goose camp, came from pheasant camp, came from deer camp. The best ideas are generated when we actually get together and meet in person and hang out and get to enjoy each other's company in person. So
yeah, exactly. And I'll second your stance on wanting everybody to have a good time from the hunt host standpoint, or at least the guy who's, done a lot of the legwork to put stuff together. Because, I know I talked last week a little bit about that Texas staff hunt we had in December of 19, and same thing. I told my wife when I got home I was exhausted, because I was constantly, we had 10 guys in camp, and I was constantly trying to get guys to and from stands, help them with their deer, help cook, take care of my own hunting and my own deer at the same time. It can be exhausting, but what's really cool is that our Fall Obsession family, and speaking from my own experience with that event, they show up and they're ready to jump in and help out and contribute wherever. And I didn't feel like I was ever, yes, I was scrambling, I was trying to get stuff done, but at the same time, I never felt like I was overwhelmed or just, being that guy for everybody. Other guys were stepping up and like, hey, I'll run so-and-so out there. I'll help him skin his deer. I'll cook tonight, whatever it might be. It was other guys stepping up and like I said, man, it's what that special thing about hunting camp that, it brings people together in a way nothing else really can, in my opinion.
We also mentioned on last week's podcast how once we, we didn't have to have a family meeting to say, hey, okay, Delaney, here, this is your responsibility. Tyler, Tyler, this is your responsibility. We just all fell into a role, and we just assumed that role and ran, and ran with that role. And that's what made the whole trip just run, seamlessly. It was so fun and so easy to be a part of. So, and these guys are, Delaney and Tyler are a big part, along with Andy and Heather. They, you got to give them all the credit, because that's what made this run so perfectly. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'll give an example. One of the four-wheelers broke down. Delaney and Heather were on the back of it, and they were pulling the sled, and it was just really soupy.
Broke down.
Yeah, it broke down. But anyways, we had to pull this sled with all of our gear on it, which is a lot of gear, right? A lot of shells, a lot of guns, and I was like, I'll take first shift on pulling this thing. And so I grabbed the front of it and I started pulling it. Andy comes in right behind me, Heather right behind him, and we're all three pulling it. I didn't even, I was like, I'll take the first shift, but nope, not going to happen. They're all jumping in to help me pull this thing. Mm-hmm. And, thankfully, it was nice, because it was heavy and not the best ground.
And deep mud.
Yeah.
Yes. I've never seen a four-wheeler do that, to be honest with you.
Well, in this first field that we hunted in on Saturday was a field that they used for duck hunting, and they flood it in the fall. And so they got all these pumps and stuff out there. So right now it's in the process of drying up, but still you have ankle deep mud. You sink down quite a bit when you're walking through it. So
right.
It was pretty tricky to even just walk through it, so.
Nobody would object when I said, I think it's time for bed. Everybody was like, yep, let's go to bed. Exhausted.
Nobody wants to be that guy.
No.
Well, so Andy and Heather brought it up in last week's episode, and I'll get y'all's thoughts and opinions on everything, because Andy was talking a little bit about just snow goose hunting, and as far as the actual behavior of snow geese and some of the techniques to use when hunting and everything, and it came up the spread that they're putting out, and he started off by talking about how relieved he was when he was told that everything was already set up. Tyler, I imagine you probably had a similar feeling, and I kind of, with Delaney and Todd, wanted to ask them about their thoughts, when as far as when you're learning the intricacies of snow goose hunting, and a spread of 1,800 decoys is insane to me to even think about. But when you're it made me think of it when you were talking about the four-wheeler and the wet ground and mud and everything. And as far as the setup and the intricacies of hunting snow geese, and I'll start with you, Delaney, and everything. How did that come along, and how was that process learning about all that?
Yeah, so first of all, we tripped over them constantly.
Yes.
Constantly. I have never seen so many decoys at once. It was really amazing because, when we pulled in, I thought, look at all of them in the field. Nope, those are decoys. It was very convincing, I'll say. But it was really neat because I got to experience, what the actual purpose of them was. And then once we had the calls on, and when you get the wind just right, you would swear they are alive if you're just a little further away. It is really, really neat. And I got to see everybody get excited when they said, oh, it's locking up. That one's locking up. And I didn't, at first I didn't know what that meant. But I understand now that, they're wanting to go to the other flock. They want to be a part of it. They want to feed, and I learned the purpose for everything that they do, and when I first started, I thought, well, that's silly. Why do you need the calls if they can see them? Well, they're pretty smart birds, it turns out. So,
right.
Yeah, it was really neat because it pushed me to do more research when I got home to just kind of further what I'm learning. So that way, the next time we go, I'll have a fun fact, like, don't do that or try that instead. And, it really makes me want to get more involved in, just any sort of waterfowl and just anything that involves flying, because that's totally out of my comfort zone. But now it's getting into my comfort zone. So it's really, really great and really a learning experience for me, 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking as a guy, again, that has no experience snow goose hunting, kind of from the outside looking in, we've used the phrase Midwestern high a lot, in the promotion of this episode and everything in this event. But I mean, really, from what I've gathered, that's what it's like, because like Andy's been hooked on it forever. Tyler, you've been doing it, you keep doing it, and these new folks that come in, Todd, Heather, Delaney, that have never done it before, y'all just keep talking about how awesome it is and how much you want to go back and do it. And it's like that with so many different things hunting. I know, like for me, when I first ventured out and experienced like antelope hunting and stuff, like I was hooked on that, and it's one of those things that once you do it, you never want to stop. I think we posted something a while back along those lines with a photo, once you do it, you never want to stop. And a bunch of people jumped on there and started commenting, this is so true, about snow geese hunting and everything. And it's just, it's crazy how something like that can just intrigue people to the point, again, where you're wanting to go back and, start doing your research and everything on snow goose hunting and everything, and learning about, kind of building upon what you've already learned, and then obviously hooked on that high and ready to do it again next year. So
yeah, and Heather, I believe it was, who said, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was Heather that said it's so different if you're used to hunting four-legged creatures. You sit all day for maybe one shot, and this one, it was just, they just kept rolling in, and that high you experienced over and over. And that, I think, is why it's such a hooking experience, because it's just, wow, I can do that again. You miss a shot, that's okay, there'll be more. And I mean, with deer, well, that shot was pretty loud, they might not come back now. It's nothing like that. And that's what I think is why there's such a high to it.
Yeah, absolutely. The spectacle alone, I mean, you're seeing just tens of thousands of birds, if not more. I don't even know how to estimate it, to be honest with you. I mean, obviously there's millions of birds making the migration, but just the sheer quantity of birds in the air at any given point or on the water, it's mind-boggling to think about and to experience. If you and you get to experience it when you're hunting it, you're right in the thick of it. They're flying right over you, just streams and streams of birds, and it's really, it makes you understand why to do it.
When they were on the lake, I thought the water was white. Nope, those were all snow geese.
Wow. I've heard that the best way to kill a snow goose is to shoot the one flying at Andy's head. Is that true?
No, they live if they fly at Andy's head. They can't hit him. He's not here right now, so.
I think he used all 11 shells on that poor bird.
We got that on video of it coming down right towards him.
As Delaney mentioned, you sit, when you're out deer hunting, and if you get a shot and miss that shot, your day's pretty much done, and who knows, maybe your whole hunt's done for, if you're going to an outfitter and that's that's what your plan is. But here, snow goose, Andy missed that bird, like we said, 11 shots, and he had several more, within a short amount of time. It wasn't like his day was done after that one bird. We had several more opportunities, and that's kind of what we talk about. That's part of the hook. The other part was that, when you're out deer hunting, you have to sit quietly for a long period of time. You have to be concerned about scent. You have to be concerned about, your movement. You got to be concerned about the noise that you're making. And really, with snow goose hunting, we didn't have to worry about those things. We had to worry about movement a little bit when they were locked in and they were coming in. We didn't want to scare them off. But
and everybody was.
Yeah, everybody
looking under.
See your chiropractor afterwards. But that's a big hook. A lot of the time we spent in the blind just talking as geese were coming in. We're having a normal conversation, just like what we're doing now. And some of our conversations were serious. Most of them were goofy and a lot, really entertaining. But that was what hooked me. The fact that we could do those things, have just normal interactions, and not have to go out of our way to make sure we get one opportunity on a deer. We have several opportunities on geese, and you don't really have to change anything. So It was just a really comfortable time, and thankfully we had warmer weather. It was 60 something the first day, and in the 70s the second day. So
it was beautiful.
Yeah, we weren't freezing in a blind, and like I said, and being able to hang out with these guys and get our opportunities, that just made for the perfect hunt.
Yeah, it's I really I want to segue and take this opportunity to encourage folks, if they're listening or watching the podcast video, to if you haven't ventured outside that comfort zone that one of you guys talked about, to definitely do that, because it's like for me, for example, I love deer hunting. I love whitetail hunting. I love being out here down in Texas on my deer lease and, spending time out there, working out there, whatever it might be. But then, for example, I go up north and I hunt Montana. Something that I've never done before. I was kind of nervous, venturing that far away to do something that I'd never done before. And thankfully I had Drew, the times that I've gone out there to help me. But at the same time, it's not like sitting in a blind. I mean, yes, you can hunt pronghorn in a blind, but, I was out there, on a spot and stalking most every day. So you're constantly moving, seeing new things, trying new things. It's a different mindset behind the hunt. And it's applicable to something like this. And another point that I wanted to make, and with whatever it might be, using y'all as an example, y'all went with an outfitter and everything, but at the same time, I think that a lot of people who have never ventured outside of their comfort zones, they have this preconceived notion in their mind that in order to do that, it costs a lot of money. And granted, there are some hunts out there that are more expensive than others and everything. And I'm not asking y'all to say what you paid or anything like that, but in my opinion, for the experience that y'all had and what y'all paid for the hunt, it was totally worth it. Sure. Is what I've heard from everybody. So I just want to use that as a point to encourage folks to, like I said, get outside of your comfort zones. You can do it for not a whole lot of money. In a lot of places, you don't have to spend the big bucks on a big high-class outfitter or anything like that. There are plenty of opportunities, like with the outfitter that y'all took advantage of, which from what everybody said was an awesome place to stay. They took good care of y'all. So you can have experience like that, or even with other stuff, as you head farther west with over-the-counter do-it-yourself type hunts and everything. You can get out there and experience a lot that you've never experienced for a relatively inexpensive cost for what hunting
Let's
is.
just say I just got out of college, and money's tight, for a college student. I learned the hard way. Lots of ramen noodles. This was not a problem for me at all. It was definitely something it was one of those opportunities you can't pass up, because it was. Yeah, I can definitely handle affording that. Not a problem. So it was an eye-opener, because I always thought the best hunts were thousands and thousands. No, definitely not the case.
And
so,
go ahead,
as
Todd.
I mentioned, this was a process. It started over a year before we actually went on our hunt. And originally, we had a fully guided hunt set up. So it was a little more little more costly at that point. But when we had to reschedule, I ended up, calling their owner, Scott Croner, who was the owner of Squaw Creek Hunt Club, who we went through, Mound City, Missouri. He said, yeah, you know what? And I explained to him, hey, we have some more experienced guys that now have committed to the hunt. He goes, well, we could set you up on a self-guided. They wouldn't know how to take care of things. I said, that's fine. That's perfect. And so you had talked about the decoys earlier, and he said, we'll put all the decoys in the blind. We'll have all the e-collars in the blind, and it'll just be up to you guys to set them out. I said, okay, perfect. And so Andy called me and asked me, what kind of setup do we have? So I explained that to him. He goes, oh, okay. He goes, well, yeah, we'll get out there and set them up. And that's all he kind of left it. I had no clue what that involved. You know what I mean?
Like 20, 50? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. And we were sitting at the house in the lodge, and Andy said, well, did they set the decoys up for us? I go, I don't think so. It's self-guided, so I think we have to get out there and do it. He's like, that means we got to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning for the hunt. I'm like, really? So my thought was, I don't want to, I'm not a 2 o'clock in the morning type of guy, And so when Joe, the guide, came in and sat down and started talking to us, we asked him, are we going to have to go out and set the decoys? He said, no, everything's all set up for you guys. It's just a matter of getting in the blind, sitting down and hunting. I'm like, that's perfect. So, when you asked about the decoys earlier, that was my thought. I was like, boy, I don't want to have to get up this early to get it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because we'll sleep most of the day and probably miss out on a lot of stuff. And so, again, Scott and Joe from Squaw Creek, they did just an outstanding job of making us feel welcomed and comfortable and had everything set for us, even though it was a self-guided hunt. And because it was self-guided hunt, wasn't as much money. It was very affordable for us all. And to have somebody with experience like Tyler and Andy, and that certainly helped us learn about what snow geese hunting was about. And, like you said, to say you're hooked, I'm watching snow geese videos every day. I'm in contact with these guys every day. You know what I mean? I'm just 100% hooked because of the things that we had spoke about earlier. So.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Guys, what else would you all like to hit on about your experience and that kind of stuff?
I think we should do favorites.
Okay.
Yeah.
We can do favorites. I'll lead us.
What were you saying, Todd?
You should tell Sam about that, your gun story, your grandpa's gun.
Oh, yeah.
That was a pretty interesting story.
Yeah, so it's a brown or I don't know what kind of gun it is, to be quite honest with you. But yeah. I remember everyone freaked out about it. I'm fairly new to the gun experience. But anyway, that was really cool because my grandpa said, take this gun. This will be a really handy one. And so I said to him, I'm like, Grandpa, there's like rust on this. What's up with that? Or like rust marks where it was rust. And he said, well, that was actually in the river for a couple months. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what? So when my dad was a little boy, they were hunting on the river waterfowl, and something happened to where the boat bumped something, and the gun went overboard. And it was freezing that day, and Grandpa was like, we'll just mark where it is, and we'll come back. Well, I guess like the floodwaters, we get flooded really bad here, and I guess the floodwaters happened, and it ended up being months. And they went back, and the flag was still there, and so they took one of those big magnets, put it down in the water, and then clink, they got it. And so they pulled it back up, and it was still in pretty decent shape, just a little rust, and they had to completely take it apart, clean it up, but it shoots pretty good for a gun that was in the water for a while.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thing was a tank for sure.
Oh my gosh, the video
I hold this one. Oh my gosh. Oh, yeah.
And I had such a rush that I didn't even notice that it just beat me up. I had a big old bruise and I didn't even notice. So it was a tank.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So let's hear about some specific favorite or funny, whatever it might be, memories or things that happened in the hunt or in camp, whatever it might be. There's probably I've heard that there's a blooper reel that we're not allowed to share with anybody. So
no, you do not want to share that one. It's colorful language.
Well, Delaney, you go first. Let's hear about some favorites.
So I think I speak for everyone when I say Andy's accent of Minnesotan is such a breath of fresh air. So there's on the blooper reel, we were doing kind of an interview of like what we expect on this hunt, and Todd was just making point after great point, and we're just nodding, and Andy goes, "Oh yeah, you betcha," and I just am like trying to hold it together, and Tyler behind the camera was bending over trying to just breathe. And I lost it. I could not stop laughing because we had such a serious conversation going, and any sprinkled "oh yeah, you betcha," I'll lose it. And then when we were going into the underground blind the first morning, I got on video too, where we're walking over there with the flashlight on, and you can hear Andy saying, "Oh yeah, lots of room in here. You could sleep in here, It was just hysterical because he's not even trying. It's just such a favorite of mine, and I think we were all saying "oh yeah" or "you betcha" after that.
Yeah,
100%. But that was definitely my favorite. Andy is just great. He's amazing. So
For sure, one of my favorite guys for sure. And we, like I said, we had a hoot with him and Heather on last week's podcast, and I know at the time we're recording this, y'all haven't it hadn't been published yet, y'all haven't heard it yet, but he did give us a "oh yeah, you betcha" at the end of that podcast, so something to look forward to at the end there.
He said in the group chat that he's or was it you, Todd, that said warming up your "oh yeah, you betchas"?
Yep, exactly. I said he was going to leave you a present, "oh yeah, you betcha" present, but apparently you already got the present.
I need a cut of that for my ringtone. I want that on Andy's ringtone. So.
Oh yeah.
I'll send you an audio file. Yeah. So Tyler, what about you? Some memories, some favorites from the weekend?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there's so many. Obviously, Andy right off the bat was a breath of fresh air, like Delaney said. He was he's a real good guy, real fun to hang out with. I think he hugged me within the first 3 minutes of being there, so you gotta love that. The other memory that I love the best is actual one during the hunt when we had the second afternoon, actually Saturday afternoon. We got in a good rhythm. The birds were flying right over us, and they were breaking off on a regular cadence, to the point to where we would complete a volley, and real quick somebody like, "Bird's coming," and we'd all just reload, get back in the blind, and just that went on for probably a good hour and a half, if not longer. I don't remember. It was, time flew by in that situation, but that right there is the epitome of snow goose hunting, or any kind of goose hunting, where they're just rolling and you're just volley after volley, and you're looking at your shells. You're saying, "Do I have enough? Do I have enough?" You never have enough, obviously, but that was one of my favorite experiences for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And I got the cool footage of everybody at the same time, looking over when we say, "There's one there."
Yeah. It's like when you go to those arcades and you see the things popping up and you're trying to bop them. Us, for sure. For quite a few times you see us go whoop, up, down, in unison.
Yeah,
it's like choreographed. Yeah.
Got some birds down, and Andy's like, "Tyler, go after him." I'm like, I'm running.
Getting your workout. Yeah, we had mentioned that last week, Sam, that there was a period there on that Saturday where there was raining geese out of the skies from us shooting, and to the point where I think we overlooked some birds in the field. There were just so many to try to keep track of them, and you couldn't go out and get them right away. You had to wait for a little bit of downtime so you weren't scaring the geese off, and just to try to remember where they all were in the field. That was just that was one of my favorite. The whole trip was a favorite for me. Like Tyler said, and Delaney, there are so many good memories that it's hard to pinpoint one special favorite. You know what I mean? Because the whole thing was really special, I thought. So. And being able to share it with these guys and to learn about snow geese hunting, and to see Heather, she gets out behind our house, but to go out of state through an outfitter in this type of situation, she's never done that before. And so I was a little nervous. I've had hunts for her. We had an antelope hunt scheduled for her when she was due with our first baby, Tala, and she was too pregnant at the time. I think she was 10 months pregnant where she couldn't go. So somebody had to take it, right? I'll go out to Wyoming and take the hunt. But so she's had a couple hunts. She had a bear hunt scheduled one time up in Canada that she ended up coming down with mono. So she hasn't hasn't had the greatest luck in terms of going through outfitters and going out of the state of Michigan. And so this finally worked out, and to see her enjoy it as much as she did was just so exciting, so exciting. And really, one thing that really made me nervous is, Heather hunting with a group of people for the first time. Delaney, I know, was right out of college, and being a female, and it's just not a traditional role in the hunting world. How is she going to fit in with everybody? And like I said, she just jumped right in, got out of her car, gave us all hugs right away, and that's kind of the icebreaker for me. You give me a hug, you trust me that much to be able to get with that boundary. And so that to me was the best, to see Heather, to see Delaney really embrace the opportunity and really enjoy the opportunity. And then just meeting Tyler for the first time and sharing all the stories with him, and it was just a great time. The whole thing is probably my favorite moment. I would say it's definitely one of the best hunts I've ever gone on. So
that's awesome.
And to kind of tie off that, one of my main purposes with being a part of the Fall Obsession family is to spread awareness that women can do this, and women can be just as good at hunting as men are. And obviously that's a learning experience. But that was so awesome that we had another female on the hunt, so I could really just talk to her, about I don't know if I understand this, and she'd say, oh, well, this is what I'm understanding from it. And I was very comfortable, just kind of having a more woman-to-woman conversation with her with a lot of things, which is so awesome to me, because it kind of gives me, that hope that maybe what I'm trying to spread awareness on is gonna really get somewhere for sure, because, it's not that often when I go hunting that I'm with another woman, because usually it's all guys, and I'm the straggler because, oh, she's just a girl. No, everybody made us all feel equal, which was amazing. So it was great.
And then to watch them put their face camo on, that was an artwork. And so we're like, oh, we're gonna put our face on. Oh, we're good. And then I'm gonna get my compact out and
little rouge.
Yeah, it ties right into the family aspect, and everybody, us being one big family, and then everything just kind of falling together when you get there. I know, not to beat a dead horse, I know we already talked about it and all that, but because I mean the same thoughts come from our side, or even me not even being there, thinking about, all right, well, we got this mixed group of people, coming in that have never hunted before. How's this going to go? And, obviously couldn't have gone any better for any of it. And I'll, I know we're ragging on Andy a lot for him not being here to defend himself and everything. But, that was one comment that he made in last week's podcast was, he's kind of sitting here and he's like, and you know what? I've never really hunted with women before. That was a comment he made last week in the podcast, and he was like, it was awesome. He was like, they just fit right in, and just went with it, and we were all his best friends, and he's like, it couldn't have gone any better. So yeah, I was super happy to hear about not just the success of the hunt, and Todd even mentioned last week about how he was just hoping that everybody would get a bird, and far exceeded that expectation throughout the weekend. So not just with the success side of the hunt, but hearing about just how much everybody enjoyed the overall experience, hunting, camp, everything. It's awesome to hear about. So again, super jealous.
The house is nice.
That's what I hear. Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't what we were expecting, that's for sure. We were trying to find pictures before we went, just to give us an idea of what to expect, and we found a couple pictures, but we didn't know if that was the actual lodge we stayed in. And so when they gave us the address and we rolled up to the house for the first time, we're like, holy smokes, we didn't expect this, So
I called Todd. I was like, I don't think I'm at the right place. He's like, no, you're in the right place.
Well, guys, is there anything that we're missing or that y'all want to hit on before we head for home?
Oh, I think we're all getting, or most of us are getting mounts done too, aren't we?
Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It was really awesome since everyone kind of voted to give me the mature blue. I was so happy about that. So that one is currently at the taxidermist, and I'll keep you update on how that one looks when it comes out. But I went with a mount of its wings spread and it kind of flying in a pretty steep direction. So I'm really excited with how that one's going to turn out. And I sent I sent Sam the recipe for the goose pot pie, and
Yes.
really, really, really good. We the other two geese that I had, we ended up cutting them up and putting them in that, and it was wow, it was really good. So it was really rewarding to be able to, actually take everything full circle with it.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
Go ahead, Tyler. Sorry, I thought you were saying something.
No, just agreeing. Absolutely. It looked delicious. I'll say that.
it was.
See that when you get that.
I'll mail you some in an envelope.
Yeah, thank you. And send me a picture of the taxidermy when you get that done too.
Absolutely.
I will for sure.
So that bird that Delaney is talking about was actually a blue. I don't know if it's a version of the snow goose, but it's a blue goose. But its head looks just like an eagle. It's got white from the neck up, and then its bill is orange, so it looks just like a bald eagle head when the blue geese get mature. And so that's what Delaney had. I kept one of the immature ones, one of the juvies, and it had a blue head, blue bill. And so that's the one that I'm getting mounted. We had to piece it together with another bluebird because they were shot up so much that the taxidermist had to piece them together and put a puzzle together. But yeah, we have some things going on with that too. So we're pretty excited with that. And so,
Awesome.
but yeah, I took mine. I just breasted mine out and just threw them on an iron skillet, just like a steak, and threw some butter and threw some lemon pepper and stuff like that on it. And I was actually really surprised on how well it tastes. It tastes just like beef, I thought, exactly like beef. And it was
Texture
a little chewier, but it tasted just like beef. When I ate it though, I was like peeling little pieces. I was afraid to get a pellet and crunch down and fall out of my face. But it was really good. My daughters were eating it, and so yeah, they loved it. It was good.
It lives to the expectation of ribeye in the sky.
Yeah.
I've heard that's pretty good. And I know Todd and I are also, we've kind of been talking a little bit, going back and forth about some ideas for a crane hunt too. Speaking of ribeye in the sky, so maybe down here, kind of more in my neck of the woods. Not that it matters. I need to go regardless. But it sounds like we're gonna have more opportunities like that coming up. So looking forward to it.
Yeah. Absolutely. We got a few that we're working on right now, and hopefully we can turn them into successful hunts as well and have the same types of memories that we did with this goose hunt. So
if we have a crew like this, I have no doubt. And I'll round us toward home base a little bit, just talking again about the Midwestern group that you guys got out there. It's a prime example of what we're trying to do and what we want here with our staff members here at Fall Obsession. Whatever your time with us, your experience as a hunter, or your rank, staff level, whatever it might be, this is what we like to see, you guys coming together and really enjoying one another's company, and then promoting that family aspect of a hunting camp and everything. It's awesome to see that finally coming together. And I feel at the same time, hit my mic. Same time, I feel like we're just getting started. We're just now getting into this, and I can't wait to see where it goes. So.
Well, and I've said to Heather many times that I'm fortunate that I get to work with all of you. And the people in the Midwest region in particular, we all have the same personalities, so it's really easy for us to get content, to generate ideas. It's really easy for us to work with one another, and so it's a group of people that we have in place that are really generating a lot of the success that we're seeing up here. So it's just awesome to be part of. It's so much fun. So. Yeah. And I thank you, Sam. Sam, you're the head honcho here, and you're the one that put it all and really encouraged us to do these things. So.
Well, I appreciate it. I like I said last week, because Andy was trying really hard to get me to blush last week with patting me on the back. But
that's why you got this.
But yes, we've from Texas down here is where Fall Obsession has originated and grown out. But the stuff like this, all the credit goes to staffers like y'all, to coordinators like Todd. Y'all are the folks that are actually making all this happen. We're happy to give y'all tools and resources and contact info, to get in touch with one another and to build these relationships. But y'all are the ones that are building the relationships, and it's shown through everything. So it's really, like I said, it's really awesome to see that growth and to see all that come together. And like I said, can't wait to see what's next. So
Yeah, it's really exciting because I have, friends that'll ask me about who did you go through on this hunt, and I'll be like, Fall Obsession. You want some info? I got you. It's really getting spread around. Like the best kind of disease in a way. The awareness of, I don't know if awareness is the right word, but just like just people learning about Fall Obsession. It's amazing how much one hunt can really spread the word.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's funny because Heather was telling me on our way down here, down south here, that a lot of her kids in her classroom now are going on to the Fall Obsession website and subscribing to the podcast and stuff like that because She talks about it so much that they're interested in learning about the content. And so I guarantee you she's going to play these podcasts in her classroom when you post them up. And so I guarantee I'll play them in my classroom. So hopefully I'm not being evaluated that day.
Well, that's awesome to hear. I don't want to get y'all in trouble, but have those kids give us a shout out. We'll put it on our pages. That'd be cool.
Yeah, for sure.
So.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, guys,
like I said, this is just something that we continue to talk about, and like you said, it's been a few weeks now, and we've developed that relationship where even last night we were going back and forth, texting quite a bit, a bunch of random stuff, but it's all fun, and that's just the relationship.
A little bit about Lady Gaga and such.
Oh yeah, Gaga Friday, that's right.
Do that.
I bet Tyler does that a lot when we're.
Just stop, guys. Just stop. Too far.
We're gonna cut that one off.
Well, guys, I told the crew last time, and I'll tell y'all the same thing. I feel like I could sit here and hang out and talk with y'all for forever, really. But we will bring the podcast to home here and wrap up. I have no doubt we'll be getting you guys back on here for another one soon. Certainly after another hunt like this, for sure. But appreciate you guys taking some time out of your weekend today to record, and looking forward to the next one. Like I said, so.
Yeah,
me too.
Sure. Thanks for having us, Sam. It's always a blast.
Thank you so much.
Man,
always a blast.
Yeah, always a pleasure to get to sit down with our own guys. So I enjoy it. So for our listeners,
next one we'll be talking about when you came with us.
Yeah, exactly. Next time I'll have my own stories to tell. I'll be making fun of Andy with y'all. So. Oh, you betcha.
And he'll be included in the group text, and he'll be shaking his head with Tyler.
Yeah, I might have to leave the group for all I know. We'll see. All right, for our listeners, thank y'all for listening. If you are a new listener and you haven't already, hit that follow and subscribe button on whatever podcast platform you're listening on. We're on all the major podcast platforms, as well as our website, fallobsession.com, and our YouTube channel. We got multiple new videos coming out every week on that YouTube channel, so be sure that you guys subscribe and turn your notifications on. This podcast is also being videoed, so if you want to catch the video podcast and see everybody's faces, hear the conversation again, you can look for that 2-3 days after the audio drops. We'll be posting it on that YouTube channel. Fallobsession.com, our website, that's the hub. That's where you guys can find all of our content, educational articles and videos, other video and media series, wild game recipes. We got a bunch of different types of content on there covering hundreds of different topics across the board, across the United States. So be sure that you go check that out. Fallobsession.com/podcast is where you guys can go to listen to our podcast. And on that page, there's a form you guys can fill out to send us feedback on our podcast, and we are looking for some feedback for our upcoming episode 100. So if you're listening to this episode soon after it comes out, be sure that you send us some feedback or topic suggestions for that episode. We also got all of our Fall Obsession brand apparel. Finally got some new spring designs about to hit the store, so excited about that. Keep an eye out for that. Go check them out, fallobsession.com/store. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, socials. Go like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff on those. That way you see our daily posts and content coming from guys like these folks right here who are contributing to our pages. Finally, Ridge Rock Hunt Company is our podcast sponsor. Derek and Lacey over there in Mississippi, they do a great job of setting people up with hunts. So like we mentioned, if you're looking to get out of that comfort zone and you want to hunt with a vetted outfitter somewhere in North America on whatever you might be looking to hunt, hit up Derek and Lacey. They're good people, and they will get you squared away. They'll do you right and set you up with somebody who will take good care of you. So again, that's Ridge Rock Hunt Company. Check them out on their website and on social media. Guys, thank y'all again. I enjoyed it. We'll do it again sometime.
It's always a blast, Sam. Always a blast. Hey, are we going to get a group stay obsessed?
Yeah, go ahead. Go for it.
1, 2, 3.
Stay obsessed.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry.
But that's okay.
I love it. All right, guys. Thank y'all for listening, and we'll catch you guys again next week for another Fall Obsession podcast episode.